Countdown to Halloween, featuring Gregory Miller's Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales. Every night at exactly midnight, a new story will appear on StoryLink Radio's YouTube channel. You'll have 24 hours to listen, then it will disappear and the next one will appear. Plan to catch these each day or you'll miss one. Each story will be 2 to 13 minutes long. If you haven't already, be sure to listen to the introduction to the book right here on this channel. And now, tonight's story from Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales. Good evening. Welcome to my home. Your story tonight will be presented by the Dullahan, the headless driver of the Irish death coach, the Costa Bauer. He is waiting for you by the columbarium. Go safely and leave something of the happiness you bring. Go, now. The death coach in Irish folklore is known as the Costa Bauer. The sight or sound of the coach is the harbinger of imminent death, either to oneself or to a close relative. Once it has come to earth, it can never return empty. The driver of the Costa Bauer is a headless horseman called the Dullahan, who travels with his head on the seat beside him. More about the Costa Bauer can be found at the on-screen links. October 30, the witness. The cottage on the edge of the sea had witnessed the pendulum of life, death, and all the spectacle that comes between strokes. It had been a constant, silent, solitary spectator for over 400 years. And had it been human, and an old withered man hunched over grey and white beard reaching almost to his knees, it would have told the stories of people long forgotten who never asked for more than their due, or if they did, never received it. So many great dramas end like stuffed candles, never having enough tinder to catch greater flame, with little or nothing to memorialize them save worn, withered stone. That, at least, is what Molly Bannock thought as she and her family approached it in the failing twilight of a dying October day. Well, now, there she is, said her older brother Brian, as a little older woman opened the front door and stood in its frame, handed over her eyes and silhouetted by the firelight behind her. Now, come on, then, said Rogue, her younger brother. Let's get to it. Mother clicked her tongue. Be polite. You know your grandmother loves this evening, so. Grandmother did. For much of the rest of the year, Molly only visited on rare after-school evenings or Sunday afternoons. Brian checked on her almost daily throughout the long winter months, but besides Christmas, Grandmother didn't visit their house at all. Instead, she was mostly their own company on the ancient homestead, with its decrepit barn and paddocks, constant blow of a sea breeze, and incessant crash of waves against the base of cliffs far below. It sometimes struck Molly that Grandmother was waiting for something, and afraid that if she left for too long would pass her by while she was gone, never to return. I hope I get the ring this year, Molly whispered to Mother. Too young, Mother replied, huffing out white air as she walked. But you were married when you were 18, Molly protested, and Grandmother was only 16. Quiet, girl. Those are different times. The world has changed. There will be time enough for love soon. Think on it if you must, but for now, let that be all. And so Molly hoped in silence. Last year, Brian had finally found the ring, and now he was married to Kelly Murphy, and he was only 20, not so different from 17. The rest of the family, those who lived close and could make it, had already arrived. Uncle Albie, Aunt Kira, Great-Aunt Fiona, and half a dozen cousins ranged in age from 2 to 32. The cottage, so barren and cold when visited alone and by daylight, felt close and warm, almost claustrophobic. Uncle Albie boomed with laughter. Cousin Ryan ribbed Brian and punched his arm. Great-Aunt Fiona cooed at little Nora, who started to cry. Here now, Neve, come and help. And Molly's mother followed Grandmother into the closet-sized kitchen alcove, where something sweet-smelling emerged from the oven and plates clattered. What do you spend your winnings on, then? Ryan asked Molly. I've got all my coins from the other years in a jar under my bed. They'll pay 6 minutes of college when the time comes. She fancies the ring this year, Rog said, smiling. Figures it's her turn. Do not. Here we are. Grandmother, with Mother behind, stood in the kitchen doorway, holding the barnbrack on a large earthenware platter. Both nervous and expectant, Molly shivered the way she did every year. Grandmother was such a bore most other times, a silent and stoic figure that offered up little besides a random scolding or a rare, threadbare story. But on this night she always seemed more present, more powerful. In the shifting firelight, the steam from the warm bread wreathing her face, she looked like a matriarch from one of the old stories. This was her evening. Bringing it over to the long wooden table, Grandmother cut the circular loaf quickly, expertly, sliding each piece onto a plate held by Mother. All her life, Molly, like most of the other children, had found a sixpence in her piece. When the younger it had been exciting finding money baked in a bite of bread, but now she wanted more. She wanted a ring to herald marriage within a year, a coin to herald good fortune, Grandmother proclaimed. Bite careful now, for money and matrimony are harder than teeth. Gingerly, the family took their first bites, and Molly dug through the warm raisin-filled bread with her tongue for metal. Nothing. Another bite. Nothing. Oh, there! I'll be rich and living in the mountains by spring. Uncle Albie stuck out his tongue, upon which rested a silver sixpence. Another bite. A rounder fork struck metal, and more coins emerged from mouths. Nothing. Another bite. Then finally there it was, the clink and the hardness. I got it! Cousin Sarah, Ryan's older sister, grinned in triumph, holding aloft the thin, silver-plated ring, identical to those from other years. Molly stopped cold. Another year a child, she thought, then gingerly poked her tongue at the metal in her mouth. And then through it. A ring. How? Grandmother only ever put in one. But it didn't matter. No, not at all. The rings, if not the coins, had never been wrong, not in all her years. So many cousins married off since she was little, and all within a year of finding the ring in the All Hallows Eve barnbrack. Molly pulled the ring from her mouth and held it up. I got it too, she exclaimed. All the joking congratulations directed at Sarah died away in an instant. There had never been two rings before. What's that now? Mother demanded, stepping toward her. Molly, how? She turned back to Grandmother, who had grown very pale. Give it to me, Grandmother demanded, holding out her hand. Here now, child, let me have it. Molly did, but first she looked at it carefully. The ring was gold and well worn. Old, very old. Inlaid into the band was a piece of amber, and on the band itself, faint in the firelight, were letters she could not read. She handed it over, all eyes upon her, everyone silent. Grandmother looked at it intently, turning it round and round with palsied fingers. Did you bring this with you, girl? She demanded. No, Molly exclaimed. Of course not. Why would I? Aye, you must have brought it with ye. Grandmother tottered over to the fire and crouched closely over it. Molly, Mother demanded, what is this? What have you done? I did nothing, Molly exclaimed with the outrage of the truthful. Mother, Oh, great merciful saints, Grandmother shrieked. Cousin Ryan rushed to her, for she looked about to fall. An oath escaped Great Aunt Fiona's lips. Uncle Albie muttered a startled curse. This ring, said Grandmother, swatting Ryan away and holding it up. There are words. What are they? A chorus demanded. What do they say? The silence that followed was pregnant with inhaled breath. Aye, that is all for tonight, Grandmother said firmly. Happy and healthy Samhain to us all, until next year, aye. Never had this happened before. The evening gathering usually lasted hours, but the family, stricken by the sudden change in the generations-old ritual, now filed out without another word. Stay a moment, child, Grandmother told Molly, grasping her arm with unexpected strength. Numb, wordlessly, Molly did, until the door shut on the last of the family and they were alone in the smoking peat firelight, now low and guttering. For Leon Grogroin, Grandmother said softly. What, Grandmother? The words, child. The words on the ring. Love veils ugliness. But what do they mean? What does it all mean? I didn't put the ring in there, Grandmother. I swear it. I know, child, Grandmother said, and her voice broke. Molly was shocked to see tears in her eyes. This house has seen much, Grandmother continued, and Molly again thought, it's a witness. Aye, but it won't see the likes of this. Some rituals hold true as well, and so do other things when the world goes thin on certain days and nights. But I don't. You wanted a ring, child. You said so to all who'd listen, and something heard ye, but not something you want to meet. You take this ring, grandmother said, pressing it firmly into Molly's hand. You take it outside. You must do it yourself. And throw it as far as you can into the sea. Then you go home and you pray that your wish does not come true. Molly's mouth was dry. The ring was cold in her hand. In the morning I'll come to check on you, grandmother said, opening the door and pushing Molly out into the night. Tonight I too will pray. The door shut. The sea wind blew. Mother, Brian, and Rog stood by in silence waiting. Molly walked, then broke into a trot, disgust with what she held, building like the urge to vomit, then ran like the devil was on her heels to the split-board fence by the edge of the cliff and cast the ring out into the spray and darkness with all her strength. She answered no questions as they walked home together. Molly said nothing as she went up to her room, and as she got into her bed, sliding between the cool sheet and the warm down quilt, she gasped but did not scream when she saw the ring sitting by her lamp on her nightstand, its amber stone glinting like an ancient, staring eye. What? She thought wildly as a shadow fell over her and the lamp winked out. Is this house going to witness tonight? You've just heard tonight's story from Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales from author Gregory Miller. You can get this book right now on Amazon at the on-screen link, and Kindle Unlimited users can borrow a copy of the book for free. You can learn more about Gregory Miller and his many amazing books and projects at his website, On Screen. If you have not already, be sure to listen to our event video here and visit our event website to learn all about our upcoming events. And remember to come back after midnight for our final tale of the season. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for StoryLink Radio.